Hello, welcome back to the FlurrySports Podcast, the election special. We will be following along closely, so sit right here. We will go live, play by play. Jake's got it. Jake's got the big board that he's going to pull up. He's going to Kornacki this motherfucker. He's going to be zooming in, zooming out at every little county. He's got them all memorized. You can see his vote sticker, and that's symbolic for, I don't know when it's going to happen. We don't know when it's going to happen. That's the most important part, but we were going to ask you to vote for our show at some point, and this year you motherfuckers better do it. Okay? Everyone's talking about voting nowadays.
That's right.
We're gonna keep the momentum rolling. Yeah. It's just it's the craze. Everyone's excited about it. But now let's keep the momentum rolling and let's win a podcast award. It's about time. Season 9, I think.
Season 9, famously, listen, folks, here's what I don't know. How we've barely lost at every level. We were nominated.
No, that makes no sense.
I know. We moved down to a smaller bracket. We're still barely losing. So we need your help in the regional polls. We've seen a big boost in popularity. Come on through. It's appreciated. We do it. Our first year, we got fucking robbed by 30 for 30.
Yeah. How did we almost beat 30 for 30 and then lose to a podcast by a credit union? It's insane.
I know it's crazy, but it's the locals, man. The locals.
I love it.
I know.
Huge credit. There's a scandal there. We will uncover that. That'll be for the off season. But it's still the NFL season here. Trade deadline today. Not as exciting as one would think it to be, which is sort of the tagline for the NFL trade deadline. I don't even know if we need to go into it, but if you guys have any questions, because this is live, and if you're listening to this after the fact, the FlurrySports YouTube channel, you can watch these live every once in a while. Let us know. Anything you guys want us to talk about, jump in the chat. We will answer it. We'll talk about it. It can be on topic, off topic, whatever. What do we want to start with? Do we want to start with the burying the lead? Should we tease the burying the lead and talk about something else?
What we could start with bury the lead. It's politics related. Don't go away, everybody. It's not that kind of politics related.
Jake's gonna tell you who to vote for. Who's the right vote?
As it's happening. Yes, I will say before I forgot, because I laughed at it as you talked about it. Not a political stance, just a funny thing that happened last year in the last election. I think my favorite, let's take a step back and all laugh at this together moment in the 2020 election was when everyone collectively freaked out about mail-in voting, but then also remembered that that's how we did it for hundreds of years. Like everyone's like, how could we ever do mail votes? And I was like, wait, didn't we do that? We've done that before.
Yeah, again, not a political stance. Every election cycle, it's like we start from scratch. Nobody remembers anything that happened 4 years ago. It's insane.
That was my first thought. All right, here, I want your Stephen A. Smith hot take on the Electoral College. That's what I want to start on.
I mean, this may surprise you, kind of for it. It's the BCS system for politics. It makes no sense. It shouldn't be what it is. But at the end of the day, it feels good to be voted to the Fiesta Bowl. It's great if you are in the Duke's Mayo Bowl because of a vote. You know what I mean? Maybe you went undefeated, but you know what? You're not going to prove your worth, UCF. You get to play in the Bahama Bowl while somebody else is going to play for the national championship. You'll call yourself national champions, much like, let's say, Iowa. You're going to say that you did something during this election. You think you swayed the election.
You think you're a swing state.
Yeah, you think you are. You're not. You know what? You keep doing what you're doing. Will it be red or will it be blue? You're red. We got it. Like you know what you are.
We're all good. I do love that it is the BCS in the way where it's like even the teams who are involved also kind of hate it, which is like the universal factor where it's like, oh, well, we want to be champions, but Notre Dame is always the second best bowl game. And it's like, I was at a conference last week in Missouri, and they were like, oh, isn't it nice to be in a state where the vote's going to make a difference? And I said, actually, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I have a lot of anxiety.
It's true.
Know, so it's like, guess what, Missouri? Do what you want. Do a handstand, do a flip, red all day.
Yeah, does not matter. There's no such thing as redrawing the counties there. It's just one big county in Missouri, I
God.
believe. I don't even think they have two.
And it just
In
spells out the
Wisconsin,
word "show me."
yeah, yeah, no kidding. It's in the shape of the Confederate flags for some reason. Insane.
That's so true. Well, speaking of things that don't matter, Zach, we have a segment here called "Bury the Lead." It's been a while. This is the first one this season.
True.
And so this is a segment for fans of the show. Usually is a fan favorite, but essentially I'm going to bring up topics to Zach typically in the sports world. Players and athletes we know and love. Zach kind of talks us through what we know about them. And then Zach, our arbiter as always, will select what is the fact of the three nominees today that we should most grope onto. Never say that again. Happy election season. But
right.
grab onto and make our, we're burying the lead. That's what we should be talking about with this person. But Zach, it's the election. We have a president special. That's right. I Googled the 10 least remembered presidents.
Great. Okay.
These presidents themselves are buried, both literally and historically.
Jimmy Carter should also be, by the way. Don't need to get into it, but he's been dead for years.
There's no way he dies before another president. Like someone else is going first. I have my bets, for sure. But yeah. That said, to avoid any wild contention, maybe some will still be out there, I only picked presidents that were presidents more than 100 years ago.
Okay.
Both for fun, and most of the list was over 100 years old anyway. So Zach, I will ask you, you have a background in history education, so I'll ask you briefly what you know about these guys, but I will say, usually I would expect the answer to be not much. They were president. They're old.
I mean, we're talking over 100 years ago, so most of these guys probably not much, but let's see. No. Let's see if I remembered them.
That's right. So Zach, can you tell me, what do we know about, you know him, you love him, he's got 3 names, Martin Van Buren?
Oh God, this guy. I hate the way this guy looks. He's got the dumb little hair on the side, bald on top. He just looks like a stooge. Like, why did we elect this guy? Truly don't know what he's ever done. He just bothers me. I don't like him.
By the way, Zach, a common theme between these 3 guys, what have they done? Not too much.
No, like this was one I should go back and just like read through what was going on at this time and why we voted for this guy, who he beat. But in my mind, and it's not like today we were doing it right by any means, but in my mind, especially back then, we want a strong leader. We want the 6'4" macho, like George Washington's a psycho running through the woods, slicing off British heads. And then Martin Van Buren is the little henchman that was, let's be honest, probably, what's it called when there's twins and they're not identical?
Suddenly it left. I don't have it either. The haze.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is. He's the one that's shorter, and it's like, really, you're his brother? That's Martin Van Buren.
Emma Hayes. No, that's so true. Shout out. By the way, if you're listening, you're very nice.
Yeah.
So, but call out. You were a little shorter. Anyway, I hope she's not listening. Anyway, Martin Van Buren, he was president, for those who don't know, unlike Zach, 1833 to 1837. I tried with all these folks to pick a political thing they did that I was like, that's cool, regardless of anything else they did. Sure. He is often thought of as the founder of the modern Democratic Party. And for better or worse, one of the figures of the current political system. So before that, like Whigs, there wasn't as much a limit on it. He really pushed us towards a second party system, kind of the founder of that. And so made it correct a little bit. Parties had to be in opposition. And so
essentially first take, but back then.
Correct.
Like,
and now
weird. Stephen A doesn't have the same opinion as the other guy. Okay.
Yes. So as always, Zach, I have a few nominees for each person. If you disagree with which one I land on, we can always change, but a couple to get the ball rolling. One that I think I knew, or when I say it, I feel like folks might have heard this about Marvin Van Buren, which is he's our only U.S. president whose first language was not English. Marvin Van Buren, Dutch.
Okay.
Yeah, so Dutch. Spoke Dutch. Yeah. Not even like, oh, what language? Dutch is a wild choice. But kind of the flip side to that, which I was like, is interesting. So this will put you in like a moment in time. Is the first U.S. president to be born a U.S. citizen?
Oh, I suppose. Born a U.S. citizen, not necessarily born here.
No, correct. Some beforehand born stateside, but first one to be born a U.S. citizen.
Sure. And he still couldn't speak English. Red flag.
He did, but he talked like this. So he got it through though.
Was he Amish? Was he one of the Pennsylvania Dutch? What are we doing?
Ooh, I don't know.
Buggy everywhere.
I think he's more Dutch. But maybe they came after that. That's true. Nominee 2, also a sign of the times. That's why I picked it. He was married for most of his life until he got into the presidency to a family member, to the daughter of his first cousin.
Yeah. I do remember that.
And not only that, after she died, wanted to keep in the family, never remarried. And some of this is scandalous and rumor because no one really knows how much was romantic. But he did. He never remarried, and all of the first lady duties, which back then there was some more format to that of what they had to do, was taken up by his daughter-in-law.
This dude's a weirdo. I like why. No one talks about him as the worst president. Not a good one.
No one talks about him. I will say a president that I had this guy as the third one. I'm like, fuck that guy. Know about is John Tyler. Also was in there. John Tyler. One, I didn't pick him because his fun fact everybody knows, which is his grandkid is still alive.
Yeah, insane.
Which is insane. It's a great fun fact. I wanted to do different. Also, literally was a traitor. He joined the South after his presidency.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, you know what? Not too bad.
That's right. First president to do a coup.
True.
Not except the revolution. Yeah, not the last.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
But no. So yeah, listen, this was what they were doing. It's hard to meet people. Still hard to meet people. And back then they did it different. No dating apps. Don't judge.
So it sounds like Van Buren's forgotten by intention here. Or like, let's forget about this guy.
Correct. And perhaps the most well-known thing about him, Zach, is not going to be a tribute to him very often. I will cachet this by saying this part's a little wrapped in myth and controversy, but it is well enough known that it came up a bunch when I looked it up, which is my final nominee for Marvin Van Buren, which I would ask you to consider for Bury the Lead, is the phrase okay is often attributed back to Marvin Van Buren because his nickname was Old Kinderhook, which is the town he was from. Yeah, it's the town he was from. So back then, everybody was Old Mahogany. But he was Old Kinderhook. And in all of the like political ads and things, it was just like speech bubbles of like, okay. And that is one of the common accepted origins of okay, comes from a lot of different places in the English American vernacular. That is at least seen as popularizing it.
Mm-hmm. Old Kinderhook? Is that
Old Kinderhook?
So
nicknames were better back then.
They were by far.
Big Diesel.
And shout out, by the way. True. On FlurrySports.org, Luke actually just published an article today, the most creative NBA nicknames of all time. So
updated.
Updated. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good on there. So they were seeing it as like an exclamation. Like it wasn't like okay as it is now.
No, but it became like a phrase. Like all it was it was a cartoon. So it was like speech bubbles, different things, and would say okay, but people saying it. And it, from that and different origins kind of took on a life of like, oh, all good or whatever. But it was kind of just a phrase that came from that of like, it's fine. So, Yeah, that is one of the common histories of the word okay.
Did you see where Old Kinderhook is?
Oh, the golf course?
It's in the Ozarks, though.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like, weird that this guy's into dating family members. It's crazy how nothing has changed.
I was going to say, good thing they grew out of it.
Yeah. So different now.
So first candidate, Old Kinderhook himself, Martin Van Buren, MVB.
Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, honestly, one of the best presidents for nicknames, it seems like.
Yeah, that's so true. By the way, I grabbed a nickname for all of these guys. So that's the first one.
Great.
Second one, Zach.
Future show, we should power rank president nicknames, maybe.
Ooh, that is so good. We're gonna have to filter out some of the recent ones, but I do like that. That's good.
Yeah,
they come for different reasons, but some still good. Yeah.
Yes. Some of them, Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe. There's never been a better nickname than Meatball Ron for Ron DeSantis.
That is true. That is true.
Not a president, not yet anyway. Him and his little booties. But anyway, next candidate, Zach, can you tell me what you know about our boy? That's right, Chester Arthur.
Chester Arthur.
2 first names.
I'm not even sure if I knew this guy was a president.
Well, he took over for somebody. Let me tell you about him a little bit, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
1881 to 1885, and he took over after Garfield's assassination.
Okay.
Was never elected on his own, obviously, so a little bit forgotten, but kind of remembered. I thought this was interesting. Kind of remembered everyone was like, you know what? Props. You weren't really supposed to be here, and you did fine. So,
sure.
A little weird. He branched the Grover Clevelands. Grover Cleveland came on either side of him.
Okay. Yeah,
so a little weird. The thing I wanted he passed a lot of shit that people gave him credit for back then that I think aged pretty poorly. So all the things that they were like, everyone loved when he said immigrants shouldn't be here, or when he was like, oh, maybe slavery should stick around. I was like, oh, aged bad. But he did. Yeah, but he rebuilt the military and especially the Navy.
Okay.
So post-Civil War, post-Grant, and
without him, there'd be no triple option in college football right now.
That's so true. That's so true. Where's the wishbone without him?
Yeah, exactly.
So
props to him.
That's right. I wanted to start with a mild one. And so for this, I just thought it was funny that this popped up under fun facts for him, which is he loved to go for walks and would often beg to be let out of like guard, and he would often go for walks around DC between 2 and 3 a.m. in the morning.
Okay. Sounds like Lincoln. He did that too. Correct.
And loved to fish. He would often cancel political meetings to go fishing if the weather was good.
I like that. We need more of that.
I do too, and I picked it specifically. I made a note that said, if you told me someone named Chester Arthur loved to fish, I'd be like, fuck yeah, he does.
Well, also, he was not planning for this whole president thing to cut into his fishing time.
By the way, all these things, he's the perfect VP. He's like, I'm going to go for walks. I'm going to go fishing. Fuck, someone shot
He thought he was just going to be wandering around Virginia and shit, just like looking for new fishing holes. It's like, son of a bitch, I got to be president? This is stupid. Cancel the meeting. Casual Fridays.
That's right. Secondly, this one I think you're going to be controversial on. It was like the number one thing that came up. Not my favorite, but it was the most prevalent, which is a lot of theories. Again, weird that some of this revisits in different ways, that he was not born in the United States. There's a lot of allegations that he was born in Canada. Modern historians.
That son of a bitch.
Also, you don't need to convince me anymore besides Chester Arthur was born in Canada. Fuck, he wasn't he? Yeah. But from Vermont, and father was a Canadian citizen. Mom lived in Vermont, but also had family in Canada. So not that they weren't U.S. citizens, but there's speculation on where he specifically was born. It did come up like in a political race. My favorite thing I saw was one political opponent said he doesn't have a birth certificate that says Vermont, and everyone was like, none of us have birth certificates.
That's true. We don't know how to write. or read.
Yeah. So thanks, Randy, by the way. Get live chats in if you're listening live. But in any case, a lot of speculation on where he was born. Can't really prove it one way or another. Also kind of a new phenomenon because obviously, 100 years in, but like 50 years prior, being born outside of the U.S. would not have been necessarily a deal breaker.
That's true. I will say I've never heard of anyone getting born or being born in Vermont. I'm not convinced there's even hospitals there.
That's right.
So you're saying a home birth? Yeah, I mean, they would just rather go to Canada, right? So
I'm not even fully convinced on Vermont.
I'm not. Yeah, they're saying Vermont's beautiful in the autumn. Really? Do I have to cross the Canadian border to get there? Like, what even is this? It's kind of like Finland. Does Finland really exist, or is it just West Norway? People are asking.
It's the only part of Noah Khan song that I distrust. What do you mean you love Vermont?
Yeah, something's happening in Vermont, and we need to get to the bottom of it. Jake, I see your question. We'll answer it in a second. Let's get through Chester Arthur here.
That's right, Chester A. Arthur. But for those listening, please get any fantasy questions in. We'll end with fantasy talk today. So
let's do it.
Yes, but Chester A. Arthur, more importantly. So maybe born in Canada, maybe not. My actual pick, Zach, and I will say, I almost didn't pick this, that I remembered who my audience was. I'm like, nah, Zach's gonna fucking love this. So a lot of nicknames, Zach. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Fancy Chester, most often Elegant Arthur, and occasionally known as the Gentleman Boss. Chester Arthur was known for one passion and one passion only. He had a passion for fashion. That's right, Zach. Chester A. Arthur loved clothes. He was known to have over 80 pairs of pants, which
Jesus.
Okay, thank you. I was like, is that a lot? I don't have that.
It's
okay,
a lot.
okay. I wondered what the line was. Yeah, me too. I've got like 8, but he had 80 pairs of pants, and I think maybe the most weirdly, it was written as he loved to change clothes throughout the day, especially for different occasions. If he had multiple meetings, he would often take the time to change between meetings. He did not want to be president.
No, not at all.
He was so excited to be VP.
Yeah. He had a whole plan. Just like, every time I walk into the room with the president, I'm gonna be wearing something else and see if he notices. Like, he's the type of guy, he parts his hair on the other side one day, just waiting for someone to mention it. This guy's a weirdo.
It's when a team loses their actual MVP in the offseason and now your best player's the glue guy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like, oh fuck, it's Elegant Arthur. They had him around, but no, Gentleman Boss.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good. By the way, okay, what NBA player right now do we want to christen the Gentleman Boss?
I was just going to ask you the same thing for a quarterback in the NFL. NBA.
Why is it Kristaps Porzingis?
No, I was thinking it might be Giannis. Giannis?
Oh, he's
Giannis
a little gentleman. Yeah. If we're talking NFL, quarterback.
Gentleman Boss.
I kind of wanted to be Leggett from the Panthers, their wide receiver.
Xavier Leggett. He's incredible.
Yeah.
He should have been traded at the deadline to anywhere else.
Yeah.
He deserves that.
Let's give it to a retired one. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Gentleman Boss.
I feel like 90% of nicknames fit Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's timeless. He spans every type of nickname. Andrew Luck also. Old Kinderhook's actually Andrew Luck. That is for sure Andrew Luck.
That's so true. Lastly, Zach, I think we do have what I consider the favorite coming in, but you'll have to decide if it is better than Old Kinderhook and Elegant Arthur, which is, can you tell us what you know about our most recent entry here, which is good old Calvin Coolidge?
Oh, Calvin Coolidge he's the most recent of these? He
is. The other ones were 1830s, 1880s, and Calvin Coolidge is 1920s.
I don't know. He did something with libraries, I feel like, but I don't fucking remember.
Oh, I don't have that on here. He was president from 1923 to 1929 For math aficionados, you will notice that is 6 years. That is because he also took over for a dead guy. Warren G. Harding died, and Calvin Coolidge took over and then was elected again on his own term. I do love when presidents have quotes like this. He was not likely to win the next race. Like FDR was coming down the pipe, and so somewhat kind of got out of the way, but also had a quote of, that would make me president for 10 years, which is too damn long. Which,
True.
they kind of got to. So also kind of a future shot at FDR.
No kidding.
So that's a little bit about him. A lot of different policies. I think he is like often remembered for really not doing much. And like, I guess gets a negative reputation because it's almost like a backlash, because it's like he got a lot of credit at the time because he was the Roaring 20s guy. And since it's like, oh, but like you didn't do anything. And then the Great Depression happened and it's kind of on you. So like, I couldn't find a lot, like he's not rated very highly in terms of like historical picks, but I'm like, I don't really see any like outrageous things. He was given a lot of credit. Like the number one thing they said was, especially for the time, very inclusive. He officially signed a document making Native Americans U.S. citizens. He also was a champion for African-American people entering politics. So yeah, some cool things there, especially coming after Woodrow Wilson.
There's also a pretty strong take I'm seeing on his Wikipedia page. It says Coolidge disliked the Ku Klux Klan. So
yes, which by the way was a bigger deal at the time because that was a club that Wilson was a part of. So
fair enough. Did you see where Coolidge is born?
No.
Supposedly also Vermont. Red flag.
What's
going on?
That is, yeah, well, we've got a Vermont conspiracy going on. All right, I couldn't help but pick this first one, Zach, though it is sad. But I wanted to sneak it in here because I did find it interesting. And I'm like, man, maybe this is buried a lead, maybe. Should we talk about this more? Which is one of the criticisms is that he was very inactive during the latter part of his presidency, but modern historians often credit that now to the death of one of his sons. Understandable. But how his son died, Zach, he was a teenager. He died playing a game of tennis with his brother barefoot at the White House. He got a blister from the exposed ground, got sepsis because it's the 1920s. And that was a death sentence. Death by tennis blister at the White House.
That's tough. I mean, like, couldn't have been a better sport. Could have said it was anything else besides tennis. Could have said you stubbed your toe really bad. That's even more manly.
I know.
Not great.
And also, maybe this is the takeaway I want people to take. As bad as things are in a lot of different ways, Calvin Coolidge has a quote that's like, I never forgave myself for not making my sons wear socks. And it's like, times were tough. Yeah. Times were tough in the 1920s. Like a parent's like, oh my God, that's why we wear socks.
Honestly, that's a pretty, if there wasn't a sock company that ran with that, that's a missed opportunity.
That is a missed opportunity. All right. Second nominee, Zach. I've heard this story before. It is related to a nickname, but I had to include it here because it is one of the funniest things I've ever heard in American history, which is our friend Calvin Coolidge was referred to as Silent Cow, which also kind of a fun nickname. He plays shooting guard, I'm sure. But Silent Cow referred to because it had a very, again, VP turned president, very, very quiet, very dry sense of humor, characterized by this story, which may be familiar to folks when they hear it, which is, quote, his wit was displayed in a characteristic exchange with a Washington, D.C. hostess who walked up to him and told him, "You must talk to me, Mr. President. I made a bet today that I could get more than 2 words out of you." Coolidge replied, "You lose." And left.
It's pretty good. Witty.
Pretty good.
I like it.
Very witty. I love that. That is, by the way, so funny. So comical.
That is good.
Yeah. Very good. And also, when he died, one of the lead reporters at the time reported Calvin Coolidge was reported to die today, but I'd like to ask, how can you tell? So pretty quiet guy. Poor Silent Cow.
Yeah, they didn't need to bury him like that. That is, so he's known essentially for doing and saying nothing, which is great.
Correct. And then, of course, the quiet, silent guy. Oh, there he is rambling about inclusion.
Yeah, that's true. Like, shut up, Cal. Like, the only time you talk is to let these guys come play with us, essentially.
Yeah, this
Stupid.
nerd. Yeah.
God.
Mourning the loss of his son due to a tragic tennis accident.
Yeah. Leave those guys in bed sheets alone. They're just having fun, Cal.
So our final contender, Zach. So will this be better than Elegant Arthur, his 80 pairs of pants and changing throughout the day, or the origin of OK, old Kinderhook, Martin Van Buren, which is Calvin Coolidge, lover of animals, along with his family, had several dogs, several cats, and some animals that I'd like to mention here now, Zach. First off, his favorite animal was a border collie, a dog named Rob Roy. So full name, Rob Roy. Loved giving his animals full names. As possibly seen by a raccoon they owned named Rebecca.
Okay.
Rebecca the raccoon really got me. He was
Yeah,
also gifted, the reason I picked it here, 2 lion cubs from the mayor of Johannesburg.
Wow.
Our
This
king
is
of dry
in the White
wit.
House?
This was right as he left the White House. So he had these with him in
Wow.
his retirement. He named those lion cubs, our king of dry wit, named those lion cubs Budget Bureau and Tax Reduction.
What a nerd.
What a fucking nerd. He named a lion Tax Reduction.
I didn't think having a lion so badass, having 2 lions more badass, and he made it lame.
And you know he's walking around like, do you want to meet Budget Bureau? What the fuck? Oh my God, you have a lion?
I was killed by tax reduction.
I do love that's so, but it is, again, I feel like out of all these folks, I'd love to get a drink with this guy. Because he's like, you know what's funny to name it, especially back then, an exotic, dangerous animal that should not be here? Budget Bureau.
Yeah.
God, all right, so Zach, who is our Bury the Lead champion? Is it lover of animals, especially Rebecca the raccoon? Let's not gloss over Rebecca the raccoon, by the way.
Yeah.
This is Rebecca.
That's true.
So lover of animals, especially his 2 lions, Budget Bureau and Tax Reduction. Calvin Coolidge, lover of fashion, Silent Cow, of course, lover of fashion in his 80 pairs of pants, Chester Arthur, Elegant Arthur, or MVB himself, old Kinderhook, origin of the word OK, Martin Van Buren.
Man, old Kinderhooks are really helping out Van Buren. That is such a banger nickname. But what was the second one? Gentleman Boss?
Gentleman Boss, Elegant Arthur, 80 pairs of pants.
God, Chester Arthur. Chester Arthur's I have
never
to focus
wanted
on
to be president, Chester Arthur. Yeah.
I think as an overall person, it's for sure Chester Arthur wins, but I have to focus on a specific thing. I think.
Bury the lead. Yeah.
Because he's funny to me. I really enjoy him.
Yeah.
I mean, Bury the Lead, it has to be the Lions. It has to be tax reduction and whatever budget, whatever.
Budget Bureau.
Budget
I
Bureau.
agree. A round of applause to
hell of a lineup.
And by the way, I will say I like that pick because if he was the president in the last 50 years, he'd be everyone's favorite president.
I mean,
he has 2 lions named Tax Reduction. If Joe Biden came out and was like, I was just gifted a wolf, I named it. Sorry, I say the word wolf weird, and I forgot I did that. I was gifted a wolf. I named it inflation.
Yeah,
funny, you know.
Just we need to have an exotic animal in the White House. It's been too long.
That's right.
We need
at least a raccoon named Rebecca.
At least a raccoon named Rebecca. Just leave it there for whoever's president next.
Or a dog named Rob Roy.
That is a great name. That's an awesome name for a dog.
Yeah. So no, it's very good. But Zach, that is our Bury the Lead. And now we pivot to the world of sports. And my first question for you is, Jake Taylor has Stafford. Should I drop Dak for Herbert for week 10? Also has Love.
Have Stafford. Should I drop Dak for Herbert week 10? Also have Love. I mean, without looking at matchups, I think I'd play Stafford.
Is it? Does he have a bye? Is that the question?
Dak is out for at least 4 weeks. He got put on IR now, so he just wants to know who he should roll.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, so I would go Stafford. He should have Puka. Puka won't be fighting next week. He got it out. He got his restorations out, so he should be good to go. Randy, what's wrong with the Bucks? Everything. But we will not remember this at the end of the year, except for when the Bucks miss the 4 seed or something by like 2 games, and we're like, why'd the Bucks start so slow? And truly, nothing matters because we are almost to the thick of the NBA season, Jake. Did you know? NBA Cup.
It always feels a little thick to me. Yes, it is time for the NBA Cup, though.
2 weeks, I think. Not this week, not next week. I think the week after the NBA Cup begins.
I can't believe they didn't add stakes to this in the offseason.
I can believe it. They talked about how they needed to change so many things. Did nothing. The stupid, disgusting courts are still around, which I love. Like, it's terrible. I don't understand the reason for it, but it is what it is. Jake, would you like to know? This is kind of a lackluster list. I looked up the most famous athletes from Vermont just to see who's from there. Number 1, I think this is in order of importance, is Andrea, not sure, a woman. So Andrea Mead Lawrence, a skier. That's the best one they got.
Oof.
The top 3 are skiers. What a bad state.
What a bad state. I
don't recognize a single person on this list. It's their top 50.
How do they not have? Let me look up. Why do I feel like there's a wrestler from Vermont?
The number 1 football player on the list is number 33 on the list, David Ball. I don't think he made the NFL.
Wow.
That's insane.
There are 2. This is aside. This is bad. If you don't get professional wrestling, you won't know this, but there are 2 professional wrestlers as listed as being from Vermont. One is Vivian Vacone, who I've never heard of. Second, Zach, I got excited for a second. John McMahon, in parentheses, no relation to other McMahons. That sucks.
That does suck. Yeah, I mean, he's part of the McMahon family for wrestling, which is great. Unfortunately, not related.
Yeah, correct.
It's a Spike Dudley situation.
Oh my God, John McMahon died in 1911.
That's okay.
No, hold on. I've got things to share on John McMahon. His biggest rivalry was with Colonel J.H. McLaughlin.
Okay. We need to find some promos.
Yeah, he served in the Union Army. Of course he did. What the fuck is going on with these professional wrestlers? He's got a whole thing on his military history.
Okay.
That's great. He only wrestled in 5 matches. Excellent. Very, very good. Dude, this Wikipedia page, unmatched. Everyone look up John McMahon, wrestler. In August 1879, McMahon faced his second cousin once removed.
That's a heated rivalry. That got personal.
That is so heated. Okay, what a good read. My last click on here is going to be who the hell is Colonel J.H. McLaughlin. Oh, they have the same facial hair. That's crazy. McLaughlin was known for his collar and elbow standing skills. Great. The literal worst part of wrestling.
Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. Bring him back. Put him in WWE 2K25.
Oh, Zach, this is why I'm preparing myself for this paragraph I'm about to read, but I need you to know this might be the best we've ever done. Okay. In March 1870, a tournament was held and is believed to have been wholly legitimate. McLaughlin emerged as the winner and was awarded a belt with a gold buckle, which he would later put on stake in matches. The tournament final, Colonel McLaughlin was safely ahead in the match against Barney Smith, but the referee declined to end the match. McLaughlin ended the match by either slamming Smith on his head or off the stage. delivering an impact which led to Smith's mental incapacitation and eventual death from cranial trauma. The remorseful, I can't believe he said this. The remorseful McLaughlin gave his tournament winnings to Smith's widow, saying, quote, "I forgot I was so wicked strong."
Never give up the bit. You got to stick to it.
And
Fuck
by
yeah,
the
dude.
way, read that quote in fucking Matt Damon's voice from Good Will Hunting. That's all. Forgot I was so wicked strong.
Holy shit.
He killed a guy.
He did. He did. That is people don't talk about him. What's his name again?
Good old J.H. McLaughlin.
J.H. McLaughlin. I mean, people need to start talking about him on the Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. If he's killing people because he's so wicked strong, that's insane. It's an incredible display.
Man, when did wrestling get so lame? I didn't know.
I know.
Yeah.
What are we doing? I do have a list now of the 23 most famous people ever from Vermont. Okay.
Yeah, hit me with it. By the way, this might be the best show we've ever done. Okay.
I know. Big Vermont show. Swing state. Not really. Number one is Bernie Sanders, which I should have remembered.
Yeah, I did know that one. Okay.
Okay. Number two is two people, Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield. That is Ben and Jerry ice cream.
Oh, yeah, I remember them being from Vermont. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So for whatever reason, we always remember, oh, yeah, they're from Vermont, but there's something weird happening here. Number three, Calvin Coolidge. Shout out.
Yeah.
Number four, Ethan Allen, which is a Revolutionary War hero and political leader. Number four, maybe, Billy Kidd, not Billy the Kid.
Oh, no.
Billy Kidd.
Different Billy Kidd.
Yeah, skier. Who cares?
John
Dewey, philosopher, psychologist. Whatever. He emphasized creativity and critical thinking. Who cares? Orson Bean, actor, comedian.
Dude, this list is going downhill fast.
There's some bangers coming up though. Grace Potter is next. She formed the group Grace Potter and the Nocturnals. Don't know what that is. Next, Robert Frost. Should have led with Robert Frost.
Should have fucking led with. I took two paths. They picked the wrong one.
Yeah. Vermont picked the wrong one. Next, Norman Rockwell, obviously painter, illustrator, very famous. Next, Rudyard Kipling.
Oh, I've heard of Rudyard Kipling.
Okay, now explain to me how he's from Vermont, because here's the sentence. Rudyard Kipling was a British author born in India.
That's so fucking funny.
Where's Vermont? Someone explain to me where Vermont is.
I was going to say, it's a Jungle Book guy.
It is, but he's British from India, one of the most famous Vermont people.
Please tell me he never lived in Vermont. I'm on his Wikipedia page right now.
There's no mention that he lived in Vermont.
Okay. Kipling and his wife settled up on a honeymoon that took them honeymoon. I don't know why I said the word like that. Honeymoon took them to the United States, including a stay in Vermont.
He visited.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. On arriving in Japan for the rest of their honeymoon, they discovered that their bank had failed. Taking the loss, they returned to Vermont, carrying.
They were forced back to Vermont. That's one of their most famous people.
When their bank literally failed.
They were taken prisoner to Vermont. And Vermont's like, he wrote Jungle Book. He's one of us.
That's right.
Insane. Patty Sheehan, golfer. Chester Allen Arthur, shout out, talked about him. Joseph Smith, founder of Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so the Mormon church. Brigham Young, so both of these Mormons are from Vermont.
It started in Vermont. Weird.
And they were like, I don't think Vermont exists. Like, then next is the band Fish. The whole band.
Oh, yep, you can have them.
Yeah. Howard Dean, politician. John Deere, no shot. No shot, John Deere's from Vermont.
That'd be a big win for them.
Says born in Rutland, Vermont. Deere moved to Illinois. Probably immediately. No shot. Matt Salinger is rope catcher in the rye.
By the way, John Deere's dad lost
What's
at
that?
sea.
Did you just find that?
I just found that out. John Deere was born in Rutland, Vermont after his father was lost at sea when he was 4 years old. Deere was raised solely by his mother.
And he made it his life mission to create all this equipment to stay on land. John Deere never ventured out on the water.
Maybe online bullying isn't so bad.
No shit.
None of us are dying due to sepsis. I've never lost a loved one to the sea.
That's kind of badass, though. Like, I always thought one of the coolest deaths, like if you had to tell somebody how do like your parent die, is getting poisoned, mysteriously poisoned. But lost at sea is pretty badass.
It is pretty badass. It's a little anticlimactic.
Kind of, but
they leave, they're gone.
But they could come back.
Maybe. Fuck. Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. It's cool.
It's cool to be like my dad was lost at sea.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as it's not like it's not like fucking Arthur going fishing to skip a meeting and then he got lost at sea. As long as he's like on a mission or something.
I like trying to find Chester Arthur got lost at sea.
Trying to find the curse of Oak Island or something. And then you got lost at sea. Kind of badass.
Maybe John Deere's dad is on Oak Island.
He planted he probably stole the treasure, ran off with it with Amelia Earhart, and then they're partying with Elvis and Avicii on some random island right now. Incredible. By
the way, this is an Oak Island joke. Which treasure? Ooh, fuckers. That show, it's never gonna end.
I need to finish last season. I quit halfway through it.
You can't quit on it.
I know. I'm too far in. There's like 5 episodes in a row that may have been the same exact episode. Who knew? We are not making progress right now in Oak Island, and that's pissing me off. We got to start making some progress here. Or we need to bring in some new people, some fresh faces. Maybe the FlurrySports Podcast. I can guarantee, let's clip this. Marty Lagina, give me a month. Give me 1 month. I will find that fucking treasure. Or at least point you in the right direction.
It's not there, dude.
It's there. Where are all these coins coming from? Why is there all this wood buried under the ground, Jake?
I will say Marty Lagina, new season, co-hosted by diehard treasure believer. By the way, what a funny dynamic. If we go on a show and the dynamic is you are like, it's fucking here. And my whole role of the show is like, I am a pessimist.
Every time we go back into the meeting room, it's like, what'd you find? Nothing. Huh. Okay.
That's right. Jake, what's your theory? You will never believe it. There's nothing here.
Every time there's like a new interview, they always have like these outside people with theories they call in, and then it's just you laughing in the corner, like, try it. Go look for it.
How come no one ever calls on me? I've got a theory. Bring in the skeptic and the believer. Yeah. We'll do wonders for that show.
We'll spice it up for sure. It'll be the best ratings you've ever had. I can guarantee it. And guess what? Results is going to be the same. Also, you need to be a little bit more peppy when you find a coin. Okay. We lost that charm. I will lose my shit if I find anything that I can trace back to anything. You know what I mean? A button? Holy fuck. You know,
that's what awesome. We need. You're going to hold up a button, look at me and go, fuck you. And that's going to drive in ratings. And I'm going to go, that fell off my shirt literally 30 minutes ago.
You guys, we need to be on the island for 1 season. And you and I need to do the remote thing too. Like they'll send them to Portugal for some reason to research. And they ask all these questions about the Knights Templar. We'll go sniffing for clues in Europe. We'll find something.
Send me to Portugal. Send me around. Tell you what, I'll do this job for free. Send me around the world, and I won't do that part for free. You send me, I'll do the rest. And I will walk around and I will ask people, have you heard of Oak Island?
That might be the best strategy right now. Have you heard of the Oak Island treasure? Where is it? You don't know anything about it? Take a guess. We need to walk around with a map and they just point. And then wherever the most points are, we dig it. We dig it up.
Here's my question. If we did a random sampling, a gathering of 50 Curse of Oak Island fans, how many of them are from states who fought in the Union?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
I'm saying I think they're going to be thrilled they have a Northern delegate.
Maybe. I don't know.
It feels like NASCAR to me. It feels a little NASCAR-y to me.
I might disagree. I don't think the
Southern, you don't think Curse of Oak Island has borders.
I don't think. I'll venture to say there's never been a NASCAR driver who's even heard of the treasure. I think it's like a weird conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Here's my thing, Marty.
There's no.
I know the answer.
Doesn't love this show.
I know the answer, Marty Lagina. Talking to you right now. I know what happened. There was treasure here. There was. Maybe someone already came and took it. Maybe the person who put it there already came and took it. And then they spilled a little bit. There's no doubt there was history on this island. There's no doubt there's a shipwreck. There's no doubt that there was treasure buried. Okay? Because, I mean, there's like tunnels. There's just random fucking tunnels and shit. Like, it was there. Why have we never even brought up the thought that maybe someone already took it? That's never been discussed one time. Not once.
Because the show has to continue, Zach. You know what theory we also have thrown out there? Nothing's here. Nothing.
Well, no, because they keep finding shit. It's like, why is this coin from the Roman Empire here? That's fucking awesome. Why is that here?
Grandpa was there. Listen, man.
With the coin from the Roman Empire? No.
You got to go back far enough. Grandpas used to be from everywhere. It's my hot take. Listen, I did just think of this too. I also want to get on the show because I feel like I would get sidetracked by the wrong things. Like, it's like, bring me on, because they'll go around the corner and be like, Jake, what have you found? The local government is fucked. Nope, don't ask him. Like, I'll be like, the police chief rigged an election. That's not what we were looking at. The true Curse of Oak Island, capitalism.
Is there a Curse of Oak Island podcast? This might be the most fun show to do a podcast about.
I don't know if that's true.
I think it is. If I can do a full breakdown every week. Okay,
I'm going to have a full breakdown every week. Dig into Oak Island.
I'm telling you, it will go crazy. Okay, so the Curse of Oak Island podcast by John Stemmer. Only 6 reviews, so it's not big.
Do you know who Dave McBride is?
Dave McBride? No. I know a Danny McBride.
Me too. Hold on, I get his name right. Yeah, Dave McBride. There is a Dig in Oak Island podcast. Yeah. And it seems pretty current. Seems to be getting, oh my God, it's got 700,000 downloads.
Yeah, man. They need a fresh new perspective. Everyone who has a podcast about this, everyone who's written about this, everyone who has a theory about this has been doing this for too long. We need fresh faces. What if there's an Oak Island podcast where okay, what if we get like the 10-minute elevator pitch essentially of what's going on Oak Island, and then every week there's a new guest, and the new guest just gives their thoughts on where the treasure is or their theory.
I think you should at least get on this show.
Yeah, Dave McBride.
Yeah,
give me the mic. Give me the mic. Let me get me out there. I'll answer any questions that group of 70,000 people has. It says,
Dave, I'll come on and you can try and prove to me what's happening. Maybe that's what we need. If it's 2v1, maybe I'll be like, all right, something's happening. Okay, I'm in to be the skeptic for once. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's true. Zach, I do want to leave us with. I want to dunk on Vermont a little bit. I have a list of famous people from Wisconsin. Not the most exciting state, but it is home. And it's just like, their list is so fucking underwhelming. I can't believe it. Like, I was like, is terrible. Wisconsin's comparable? It's crazy how much better ours is.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Rhode Island's is better. And Rhode Island's fucking nothing.
Correct. All right, here's some ones from Wisconsin. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Of course. Number 1, on the field and in our hearts, Chris Farley.
Bingo. Yep. Great.
Number 2, Mark Ruffalo.
Okay, Sure.
Number
He's
3,
fine.
Willem Dafoe.
I mean, yeah, he's great.
Number 4, Colin Kaepernick.
Okay. Okay.
Martyr. I don't know what order they did these in because number 5, Gene Wilder.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that should have been higher.
6, Heather Graham. Hot.
True. Great.
7, Liberace.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Number 8, Tony Shalhoub.
I don't even know who that is.
Monk.
Oh, okay. Great.
He's from there. Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon. Yep.
Controversially.
Little
He's from there. JJ Watt.
Yeah. Couple watts.
Couple Watts, all of them. Georgia O'Keeffe.
Okay. Great. That's a good one.
Bon Iver. Why they listed him as Bon Iver?
They don't know Justin Vernon's name.
Justin
They don't-
Vernon.
Yeah, they don't know his name.
How did they fucking make this list? Number 14, Oprah?
Really?
Is that right? Hold on. Why
I
is she
think she's
so
from
low?
Chicago. That's true. Why is she low?
Chicago. Born in what the fuck is going on? Why is she on that list? Born in Massachusetts. Let me look this up. Do we have a rippling situation? Oh, at 6, Winfrey moved to an inner city neighborhood in Milwaukee after her mother was lost at sea. It's not true. I could help myself. So it's almost
Incredible.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh, she moved there. What are the odds? Her and John Deere. No, with her mother. She moved to Milwaukee with her mother, yeah. So was there for a while, and then moved elsewhere to Tennessee. So part-time resident of Wisconsin.
Yeah. We don't even need her on the list. We don't need to lie about it. I mean, what
interesting.
we got Ed Gein.
She's right under Bon Iver. Yeah, they didn't have Ed Gein or Dahmer on there.
Yeah, we got both them. I think the guy for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre might have been from Wisconsin.
Yeah, yes, he was. Yeah, he spoke at our high school.
Really?
Yeah, he can't. I don't know why this sticks in my mind. He was friends with our guidance counselor, Hugh Goodrich. They went to the same high school, and they brought him in to like speak. I feel like when we were in middle school, so maybe you weren't in this speech. I don't know, but it was like came in and spoke about like living your dreams because no one ever wanted to hire him to do any roles because he was like scary looking. He's like, so I went into horror movies.
Interesting. Someone who was cut from the band Toto was a substitute teacher for me in high school.
They were
yeah, because he lost his hand in a farm accident, so he couldn't play guitar anymore.
Fuck, that
was before they were big. Then they got really big.
Damn. That doesn't happen much. Lost at sea and amputees are kind of a thing of the past.
That is true. That is true.
Which, by the way,
equipment now.
Good. Controversially.
That is true. A little controversial. Wisconsin destroys them. It's not even close.
Yeah, Wisconsin destroys. We had you at Chris Farley.
Legitimately. Their top 3 were skiers. I didn't even know we celebrate them as athletes.
Jungle Book guy didn't want to be there.
He was a prisoner. That doesn't count.
By the way, back when Banks failed, it's crazy.
No kidding. And speaking of prisoner, shout out Big Baby, Glenn Davis. He's in Duluth now in prison.
Wow.
I might need to go visit him.
Damn. Maybe we should.
I know. Hey, get him on the podcast one way or another.
That's right. Also on this list, this is crazy. Whoever made this list, it's just Google list, so maybe AI's tripping. Bronson Koenig.
Yeah, it's true. It's not wrong.
It's true. I've got other names I maybe would have, elevated.
Sam Decker.
Frank Kaminsky. Names from that team. But
true. Not Brad Davison. He was a quarterback in high school in Minnesota. Heard that no shortage of 500 times during his 9 years of college basketball.
That is so true. Zach, we are halfway through the NFL season. We are almost 100% through this show. I think it'd be fun. Let's end on what is our one takeaway each from the first half of the NFL season 2024?
I mean, it's not a new one. I think I say it every week. Everybody's bad at football. Like, everyone's bad except for the Lions.
Correct. Everyone's bad at football. I want a different takeaway than just the most boring parts of football are the most important. Like, have a line, have depth. Like, everyone this year has been like, oh my God, teams need backup quarterbacks. Yeah, motherfucker. The league is a car wreck. You need a backup quarterback. My takeaway from the first half of the season, let's do this. All right. I don't think any GM has ever, how do I want to word this in a way that makes it more true? My takeaway is Jaden Daniels.
Okay. Great takeaway.
How exciting that is. I think future the league, like when it's like, is Caleb Williams a bust? When it's so clearly like not there yet, just because he's that good.
Mm-hmm.
But the takeaway I want to say, which is Jaden Daniels is so good, he might have killed GM Hard Knocks.
Yeah, honestly, he might have.
Like, nothing's aged worse than Joe Shane like rolling his eyes at his son, who's like, draft Jaden Daniels, you only have one moment. And he's like, oh, stupid kid with your dreams and your ambitions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Offseason Hard Knocks just showcased and gave fuel to the fire that anyone can be a GM. Like, we need to stop acting like that's not true. Like, no, you think you could be a GM? Not everyone can be a coach. Not everyone can play. Everybody can be a GM.
Anyone can cook. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, anyone can cook. You can cook anything. Not well, but it doesn't matter.
That's right. Ratatouille. Yeah, I agree. And I also saw a tweet today, probably made me think of it, which is, I'll never forgive Tommy DeVito for costing us Jaden Daniels, which is also true. Those couple wins.
No
but
is he even in the NFL anymore?
There's no way. What a moment in time he was.
That was the Linsanity of the NFL. Tommy DeVito. He's still on the Giants.
Oh, as he should.
They should play him.
Honestly. But no, I think like Jaden Daniels is, I hope he lasts. But if he doesn't, I hope we remember just how fucking good he is right now.
Yeah, it gives a little bit of credibility too that black people can play quarterback.
Yeah, still trying to prove that for some reason. But yes, you're right. And that he can throw. Oh my God, he's mobile and his arm works. So
yeah, you don't have to pick one or the other. He can do it.
Do you have a favorite autograph to end on a question from the audience?
Probably a Kevin Garnett autograph would be my guess. Gotta be up there. I have that, and I have a couple Brett Favre ones.
That's nice. That's good. I'm trying to think if I've got a better one. I've got a Reggie White.
That's good.
That's good. And then I've got a Joe Mauer. That's the best one I've gotten like in person.
What's his name? I really should know this. The polar bear from mid 2000s. No, mid 2000s Wisconsin Badgers basketball.
Oh,
starts with D, I think.
It's not John Lure.
No, he was Wisconsin Badgers.
I got it. I'm almost there. There's a polar bear on the fairway. Why wouldn't you tell me his name in the title?
Brian Butch.
Fuck.
Fuck yeah. Got him.
So good. Honestly, my favorite autograph I have is one, by the way, not a mushy story where I'm going to say you. I'm going to say an actual funny thing. Autograph I have in my high school graduation book, my yearbook, which is there's an autograph in there that says, fuck you, Jake. And it's from my good friend, Zach Moore. And the reason he wrote that in there is because he wrote me a very, very long entry into my graduation yearbook of how much his friendship my friendship meant to him and how I was going to be such a good sports broadcaster and how I'm going to do good at whatever I want. And then he realized I accidentally handed him Leah Kupfal's book. So he wrote it on Leah Kupfal's. And then I was like, oh, by the way, I handed you the wrong book. And so I got it.
That's good.
Yeah, that is good. So Leah Kupfal's out there somewhere gets to remember how much Zach Moore's friendship meant to him. And I got to fuck you.
Great. That's good.
Yeah.
I think everyone won in that situation, maybe.
Everyone won. And I was the only one who thought it was funny. Leah's like, oh my God, that took up like half a page. I'm like, oh, come on. It's funny.
It's the best one you're going to get. Yeah.
That's
no
right.
one else believes in you as much as he does.
That's right. I signed underneath it on Leah's.
Good. Yeah. And Jake.
Thanks. Yeah. There you go. Anything else for the folks, Zach?
Really quick. We don't need to go through it much, but I did calculate our losers. We drafted
halfway through.
Yeah, we're halfway through the NFL season. We drafted 12 teams each. In the preseason, if you remember, we were picking teams to get the most losses, the fewest wins. As it stands right now, through my 12 teams, have 38 wins, and through your 12 teams, you have 50 wins. So, some notable picks. Probably my best pick technically was the Jaguars at 11 with only 2 wins. And the big swing for you was you took the Vikings first. JJ McCarthy was still healthy. You were fueled by hatred for JJ McCarthy at that point.
So crazy.
You then got him injured, and then Sam Darnold came in to ruin it for you. Your best pick was the Cowboys. You got the Cowboys at 11, and they only got 3 wins. What a disaster for Dallas. They are so bad. It's incredible. Keyshawn. Should I trade David Montgomery and Marvin Harrison Jr. for Jonathan Taylor? No. No need.
That's the kind of analysis you can only get here.
That's right. David Montgomery's good. We need to stop pretending David Montgomery's not good at fantasy, not good at regular football. Everyone hates him. I don't understand it. Like, he's the starting running back for the Detroit Lions, and everyone's like, he's the second guy. Let's just watch the game. Let's just watch, see what happens. Marvin Harrison Jr., by the way, that played out exactly as I said. Him and Kyler Murray will not speak to each other on the field. If there's a miss route, if there's something that usually one of the two argues, demands the ball, tells them what to do, they just pass of each other. They'll ignore each other. It's a silent treatment for the entire game. It's weird. Don't like it. Is what it is. Okay. Should we get out of here? Anything else?
I mean, until next time, remember what would old Kitteridge do? Fuck, what's his name? I forgot already. Old Kinderhook.